Hello. So we should be live now. Everything should be working. Let me just double check. Yeah, we've got people coming in. That's good. Welcome to Tom's Kitchen. If it's your first time watching, hello, I'm Tom. I'm a person with PKU, but today actually the stuff that we're going to be making is going to be actually not PKU specific, so it could be anybody can have these apart from the milkshake that we'll get to where I have a replacement milk. But yeah, hopefully everybody's had a good week. I know it's not as sunny as last week. Currently during this quarantine I am doing these weekly, so you weekly have a look at my kitchen and double check that I'm okay, and also just get some tips and tricks. So if you have any comments that you want to do, then do put them in the live chat. If you're watching this back, obviously the live chat isn't there, but do put it in the comments and then I will be able to answer anything that you want. But yeah, we'll just give it a few more minutes. We do have a dual camera setup today, where we're going to be looking at what's going on below. We're going to have loads of different fruits. So we're doing sweet potato hash browns and smoothies and milkshakes. So hopefully there's things that anybody can take from this. Yeah, and I hope everybody's having a good Saturday. Despite it's raining here. I'm based in Stafford. I don't know if it's raining where you are, but it is raining where I am. So it's certainly the grass is appreciating the rain, and my plants are too. So we're just going to give it a few more minutes, just while we wait for people. If you want to say hello, if you've been here before, say hi. If you're new, if you want to know anything about who the hell am I, then do by all means. We're going to do, I practiced these hash browns last night. They do taste good. I tried them, I've survived. So we're just going to talk you through how to do that. Yeah, if you have any questions, we've had random questions that are, what's this that you have in your kitchen? PKU ones that are like, what are my exchanges and that sort of thing. Hello, hi Tamara, hello Hannah. Funny thing was, Hannah was like, you'll get more people watching if it's raining. So hopefully people aren't going to be just stood in their garden and they're going to be watching some random person that isn't a professional chef cooking in his kitchen. Basically making food for me to eat, but other people watch me do that. Quite strange, but that's society. So we don't need this bowl. What we are going to do is we're going to do sweet potato hash browns, which require no flour, nothing like that. It is purely just veg and the condensing and the cooking and the frying process that actually brings it together to be a hash brown, which means that they are completely free of any exchanges. I try and always come from the basis of my cooking to have no exchanges in the cooking, because I have 8.5 exchanges, so I'm not particularly high for exchange counts. So for me, anything free food is useful to add in for a dinner and that sort of thing. So to do sweet potato hash browns, because that's the first thing that we are going to do. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you the next. So we have the 3 bowls, okay? So that was just to keep it fresh. We have sweet potato grated. So the idea was it's 200 grams sweet potato. The recipe, as you can see here, I'll show you another time for where this came from. It's a book that I got from Low Protein. So you've got sweet potato grated, you've got 50 grams of leek, and the idea with that is that you add this with garlic. So I'm going to use my jar from before, sort of thing. And then to garnish it, you have 60 grams of mushrooms and cherry tomatoes, which we'll get to and we'll soften them up. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll go back and you can then see me. There you go. So, what we are going to do is, we have these 3 items here. And the main thing is that we're going to do the sweet potato first. That's the first thing that we do. So we have a big bowl. That's where we're going to construct the main base of your sweet potato hash browns. Okay. Caroline's looking really forward to the sweet potato hash browns. Thank you. Hopefully it comes out good. It did all right last night. So what we do first of all is we add them all. We add the whole mixture. So this is 200 grams of sweet potato, grated, using any grater that you want. So you have it all there, sort of thing. And then what you want to do is you want to season it. So you want to season it with mixed herbs. So I've got a tiny bit of mixed herbs there. But you can. It says a teaspoon of half a teaspoon of mixed herbs. This is the book that I got this recipe from. I will post up a picture and link it in the description of the video when it's up on YouTube of the actual recipe. As you can tell, that's what they're intended to look like. Oh, there you go. And it's actually quite a simple recipe. So if you were cooking this at speed, you're talking about 15 minutes. 15 minutes prep and then 15 minutes cooking. So it's not too bad in a sense. Okay, so you have that. You have mixed herbs. You have salt, and somewhere, there it is, you have pepper. Okay, so you just got to season it. Again, you can work off the descriptions that they have in the menu, which is like, you know, half a teaspoon and stuff. I kind of just am doing it by look, but you can get very specific if you want. So just add in about half. Fair bit. I'm quite a herby, spice kind of guy. If you've watched any of the previous ones, I quite like a lot of herbs and a lot of spices. Then you're going to have pepper. And don't drop the lid in the bowl. So just a little bit of pepper. Okay. There isn't actually any measurements on the salt and the pepper. It's literally just a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. So obviously that is purely at your discretion, depending on how much you like of salt. I don't really like much salt, so that's why I'm going to be just doing this. So a light little tap. Okay. And then the idea with this is when we go to this, I will show you. Cool. So what we have here is we have all the mixture. The idea then is you just blend it. Okay, so you're just mixing it through. Again, wash your hands before doing this. I wash my hands before. Okay, so you're just blending it up just to make sure that it gets across everywhere. Okay, so now you have your mixture of sweet potato, herbs, peppers, that sort of thing. Okay, so if we go back, there you go. So we got this. Then what we're going to be doing is we're going to leave this for now, and we're going to start on the leek and the garlic. Okay, because you need to cook them first, and then the sweet potato gets added in to the leek and the garlic. Okay, so what we're going to do for that is we have the leek, we have the garlic, and you need a frying pan of any description. I have 2 just to speed up the process. But a frying pan of any description. Okay, so then we're going to put it on the back. I'm just going to set the camera up at the back to pick that up. Is everybody having a good day so far? We haven't got too crazy from lockdown yet. Obviously it's been extended, but that's what we thought anyway. Okay. And that angle is now set up. You've now just watched me set up an angle. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to put this on a medium heat. So we'll go to the back and we'll go to the camera. Okay, so we've got this, we've got a medium heat. So mine goes up to 6. So we're going to do about 4 on here. And what you want is you want a little bit of a dash of olive oil. Okay, so a little bit of a dash, and then we wait for this to heat up. A little bit of a dash. I've put in a fair bit though, but I don't want my frying pan is quite bad, so it sticks quite a lot. So I don't particularly want it to stick, so that's why I put a lot of olive oil. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have the leeks and the garlic, and when that's all set up, we're going to pour that in, and it's going to cook on there. Okay, so if we then come back. Okay, so yeah, we're just going to wait for that to heat up. And then the idea then is that's going to cook until the leek is translucent, so until the leek has kind of like been cooked a little bit of time, and then you add this into the frying pan. Okay, and then that's the idea, is you're mixing the leeks and the sweet potatoes all up, sort of thing. So yeah, and then this obviously, as I said before, is garnish, and the idea with this is it makes four hash browns. I'm probably going to make 2, just because I like them quite big. It really depends on how big you want. The recipe that I'll post up is meant to make 4, so it's up to you if that's what how many you want. Depends on how big you actually make them as a hash brown. I'm going to make them quite big because then it almost becomes like a burger. But yeah, more than that's like a creative decision in a sense. So we are going to go back. Hopefully this is going to start to be warm. If you have any requests for smoothies, I have quite a lot of different stock. I've got some ideas in my head, but if there's certainly anything that you kind of want to request in ingredients, if I have them, I'll put them together and we'll make a concoction of smoothies. That's basically going to be my liquid for the whole of the day, is that I've got to eat all these smoothies. So yeah, we've got Anita. How am I? I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm talking to a camera again, but it's okay. What would you typically eat with them? So I had these with salad last night, but you can have them as like a burger or as a potato hash brown alternative. So I'd say that they're an accompaniment meal to a bigger meal. So you could have it with, because it hasn't been made with flour as such, and it's not like the potato ones that they're a lot more solid. I wouldn't put one with much liquid stuff, but I would have them as a side thing to a salad or potato item and that sort of thing. But it's a good alternative free food exchange sort of thing. Hi Tom, Florence and Emma here. Just finished lockdown Powerbox session. That sounds intense. Powerbox does sound intense. I've started to do daily yoga, so my body is slowly aching more and more, but it's really good for the mind. Looking forward to the smoothies. Yes, hopefully they're going to come out looking nice and good. So this is now going to be nice and warm, so we'll go back to the back. So this is now nice and warm. We're going to just pour this in. And then if you had freshly made garlic, then by all means put that in right now. I have this jar of garlic, so by all means that's what I'm going to be doing, is just using a little spoon to put some in. The idea is that they want it crushed. Okay, you want it crushed garlic, you want tiny little bits, not big chunks. If you can't cut it up that small, then maybe get something like this, or get frozen garlic where it comes in a lot smaller capacity. So what we're going to do is we are going to make sure that this is all distributed around. You want to make sure that if you can see, yeah, make sure that the garlic is well mixed You don't want necessarily a section that is particularly one piece of garlic in there. Okay. And you don't want to keep stirring it too much, but you just want to give it a bit of time just to cook through. Okay. So we'll come back. Is that in focus? It is now. There you go. Right, so cool. So we're back here. We'll leave that doing it for its time. You don't want to take it off the heat when it's done. You just want to add in this sweet potato. So we'll keep an eye on that and make sure it's stirring around. If there are any requests for like other weeks that people want me to cover, I am more than welcome to try and turn my hand at things. Like I said, I'm now trying stuff that I've only attempted for the first time this week, so I'm not a master cook of this. I'm learning as I do, and the more obviously that you do, the better that you will be at this. So we'll go to the back again, just because it's looking nice and good now. So I think we can get a bit closer to that. Right, so that's now cooking. Nice, it's not really sticking too much, so that's good. You just want to keep moving it around to make the leeks as soft as possible. Okay, so you can see it there. You can see that they're not sticking, but this is not the highest heat, and you don't want to bring it to the highest heat. This is on about 4, if you can see there. It's about just over half the weight dial. So keep this going. Obviously, once you add the sweet potato in, then it's going to cook a lot slower. The leek is. So when it says translucent, you want it to lose a little bit of its green. You want it to go slightly clear. So if we're looking at that, you see it's going a bit more yellow now, so it's getting there. It's losing the green of the leek. And so yeah, it's just doing its thing. And then we'll come back to the top. I apologise if there's some flickering. I don't know why that is. I think it might be just the camera. Might be just feeling the weekend. So hopefully you're getting the idea. So we're going to give that 1 more minute, just because it's not meant to cook for too long, and then we're going to add in the sweet potato. Remember, if you want to make more than the 4 small hash browns that they recommend, you can obviously increase the mixture. All I would say is that maybe just have a few more frying pans, just to kind of help you, or you'll be switching hash browns out from frying pan to frying pan. Okay, so that's looking nice and good now, so we'll go back to the back. Cool. So as you can tell, it's going a lot more clearer. You see in the bottom of the pan a lot more now. So what you want to do is you want to add in this sweet potato. Try and get everything out. Okay, and now what you want to do is you want to mix this. Keep it on the same heat. You want to mix this around with the leeks and the garlic. And at the moment, it looks quite like, oh, it won't make something solid. But the idea is once it fries, that's what makes it more hard as a consistency. So the idea is you want to move it around just to mix up all the leek and the garlic. Make sure it's trying not to stick. So maybe for some people's pans, like I said, my frying pan isn't particularly good. So you're just going to have to keep making it move. I do have a better frying pan there, but I'm going to use that for when we are making them into hash browns. So we're going to leave that for about a minute. and just keep flipping it, keep making sure that all sides of that sweet potato are cooking. I'm going to come back and see if there's any questions. Jamie's saying looking good. Thank you, Jamie. You can actually have this. This isn't just Jamie's my best friend that doesn't have PKU. He can have this time. He doesn't need the flour, so that's all good. Okay. So it's getting there now. You can see how it's collecting it a lot more. So it's staying a lot more constant. It's smelling quite nice because you've got the seasoning in there. So it's getting there. This is ultimately making this mix kind of thing, in terms of making the mix that then you make the hash browns from. So it will just be one big thing. The idea is you don't split the hash browns at this stage. Okay, so we're cooking it. It's like about 2 to 3 minutes you want to cook this for. Obviously, I'm moving it a lot more, so that means the heat's going to take a little bit longer to cook it. But then what we're going to do now is we are going to bring this back. And if I transition... Ooh. So we're going to pour this now, all of it, in your bowl. Okay. This is now all your mixture for your hash browns. You can keep that hob on because we'll need that hob. So now what we're going to do is we're going to have to wait for this a little bit to cool. You could eat the PKU flour if you wanted, Jamie. It probably costs me less to get the flour than it would do from you for a shop. So I could always give you some flour. So we're just going to wait for this to cool because obviously we're going to be constructing the hash browns through our hands. And at the moment it's very warm, so you don't particularly want that to happen. So we've got 9. Cool. Yep. So this is what the mixture is currently looking like. If you want to see. So you can see the leeks. You can see the garlic all mixed in, and this is now ultimately your mixture that you will use to make how big you want your hash browns. And this is where personal choice comes into play, okay, in terms of how big or how little you want the hash browns to be. So yeah, we're just going to wait for this to cool. If I have a variety of different fruits and different veg, like that I can make smoothies from. The idea with the smoothies and the milkshakes is after this is we're going to do one that is a milkshake that has chocolate and PKU milk, and also then we're going to have like a veg based one that's going to be carrot and orange probably, and then we're going to have a fruit based one, and then we're going to have one that has sorbet involved in it. So yeah, so that's the plan. If you want to add in any other things, you can see I've got a melon here, I've got loads of different fruit here. By all means, if you want to take a question and see how it comes out, then you're more than welcome. How I'll be doing the smoothies is via this thing, which is a NutriBullet. So it's a blender. If you want to use a hand blender, you can do. This one's just very, very industrial, that it will just destroy a whole apple in one. It's kind of like the lazy person's blender, in the sense that you can just pull in the whole thing without needing to chop, sort of thing. Okay. So what we're going to do is a way that you can speed this up is once you put this on to fry in the hash browns, you can also put this on to cook itself. Okay, so then they both finish at the same time rather than waiting a little bit of time. Okay, so it's getting there, still a bit warm. It really depends on touch. You don't want it to go too cool, but you don't want it to be too warm. Okay, so yeah, we got your camera work gets better and better by the week. Yeah, well, I know I need one piece of kit that will make that a lot better. Ah, my little sign's gone, so I'll move that to the side there. So yeah, there's a little piece of kit that I know I need to basically improve it even more. But as you can tell, you can see that I'm being lit a lot more because there isn't any sun this week. So you can see now we've got this whole thing. It's getting a little bit more cooler. You can see that you can actually see through it rather than a lot of steam. I used a plastic bowl yesterday. I wouldn't recommend doing that because I got very worried because obviously it's quite high temperature coming out. So if you've got a glass bowl or a pottery bowl, then that's more desirable. I'm just using this clear one because obviously I want to show you what I'm doing. So what we're going to do is we need to make these into the hash browns that you said. So you want to make them before putting them on the heat, in a sense. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the pan on the heat. Now I used olive oil last time, but this time, because we don't want to add too much liquid to the sweet potato, we're going to use fry spray, okay? Because obviously that gives us the idea of oil, but it also doesn't add in too much liquid to the mixture. Okay, so 2 sprays. I always do 3 just to make sure. If you've got that on a little bit of heat, you can use the same frying pan. It just might stick a lot more because you've already used it. So that's going to heat up. And then we can use this frying pan on the left that we've already used to cook the the mushrooms and the tomatoes. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to construct this. So I'm going to take off the bracelet. So get your mixture. You want to compress quite a lot. So if you can see, just compressing. So I'm making them. It does have a bit of mixture. Your hands go a bit orange. It's all good. Okay, so that's one. Okay, and then when that's cooking, I'm just going to put that on as one. Okay, and then we'll do that again. I'm going to do a slightly bigger one. It does not look that appetizing at the moment, I will give you that. But the idea is that you want to make a solid piece. Okay, so then we'll put that in. And we'll do a tiny one with this little bit of mixture here. And then, yeah, you can use the board if you want. I'm just going to use my hands for now, but you can use the board if you. That's why it was there. Right, so just wash my hands and then we'll turn to the camera so you can see what's going on. Right, so back, transition, and boom. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. You've got 3 different things now, 3 different hash browns. You can heat up this pan too if you want to do the mushrooms and the tomatoes. Obviously that pan's not looking particularly good right now, but the whole idea is that you use the spray. How to keep these in shape is using the fish slice to compress them down onto the heat. Okay, because that will make them hold their definitive shape and not split up, if you can see. Okay, so we're going to leave that to cook. We're going to heat up this pan here, if you can see. I'll stay on this side. Okay. Ideally, you'd want a clean pan. Okay, wait for that to get to heat. So you want to give these about 2 to 3 minutes, just cooking on the one side, and then you want to flip them. Okay, hopefully you can see that all good. Yeah, you can see that okay. Okay, and then when this is heated up, you want to put in the mushrooms, and the whole cherry tomatoes into here. And then just wait for it to heat, and then you just want to cook that a little bit. Okay, so this is doing its thing. Just make sure you're always padding down. And make sure that they cook together rather than splitting off. As you can tell, this pan's a little bit better because it's sticking far less, but you can see they're getting there. Okay, and this is going to be cooking, so we'll just come back for a minute. So, yeah, is there any questions so far? Is it all making sense? We'll move this to the side. It's nice and quick and easy. Like I said, if you weren't talking to random people in your kitchen, then you could do this quite quickly. Once you've grated, it will really just do it really nice and easy. So we'll get a plate ready for when it's done. I'm just going to double check them. You get those gains. What do you mean gains, Jamie? Okay, so the mushrooms, obviously, ideally you'd be using a clean pan. So if we come back, you can see where we're doing. Right. Could you use any veg choice? I'd assume that so. Carrots can be a thing, so I might be doing carrot burgers one week because I know I really like them that my mum used to do, so I can do that myself. So you can see it's sticking quite well. And those muscles. Yoga, Jamie. Yoga is how I get those gains. Okay, now with this is you want to try and keep it together. Yeah, you could use carrots and burger, yeah. So it's the same premise. Anything that has similar texture, which has a little bit of water in. So we want to now flip these and try not to split them up. I find with these that bigger ones hold their shape a bit more. And obviously you can see that I'm trying to reconstruct. But that's it, they've got a little bit of brown on that side, sort of thing. So yeah, we'll just leave them again for a couple of minutes. These are now cooking slowly. So I'm just going to whack up the heat a bit more. And put in some more oil. Okay, so now I've got two of them cooking. We've got anything else? Use carrot, yeah. So this is, you could try and collect things to kind of put it together. The more that you manipulate it in the pan using the heat, the better it will stick. Okay. So yeah, hopefully it's making sense. This is cooking now. You basically, with the mushrooms and the tomatoes, you want it to kind of just have a little bit of softness. You don't want to fry them, you just want to get into a bit of softness. Yeah, I could try Swede, yeah. Don't see why we couldn't. I think the carrot burgers are normally ones with onion, so you might have to change the leek in terms of complementary, in terms of the flavours. So this is now cooking. If you're obviously using a dirty pan, then it can take a bit of time to try and get through the dirt into that. I'm just trying to think of my washing up. So this is doing this thing. Just trying to make it look as hash browny as possible. I'm having a difficulty with this one, so this is getting there now. The tomatoes are becoming a bit more softer. Okay. Are there any other questions? No, it's all looking all good. Is this something that people realistically would try, do you think? Okay, so that's now, just keep making sure that you're pushing this around. As you can tell, the pan's taking quite a beating. Okay. I'll get a new thing. The joy of live cooking. This is why people prepare before. Okay, so that is done. So just take that off the heat. Give it one more whack. Just give it about half a minute left. The children will learn. Yeah, they're nice and quick and easy, and also, like I said, they're free. They're free food, and not too hard to make. So this is looking like it's done now. So I'm just going to bring this off. We're going to go to the front. Okay, and I'm just going to turn this around. Drop this down. Okay, so we now have our hash browns. So here's one. Here's your second one. And here's, well, I'd say the runt of the family, a makeshift third. Okay, so if we go to this angle, you'll be able to see them. So that is the hash browns. So if we now use these tomatoes and peppers, tomatoes and mushrooms, just as a bit of garnish. It's almost like I planned how many tomatoes there are. Obviously, if your kid or adult really likes sweet potato, and really hates mushroom, you don't have to garnish this with mushrooms. trying to use up every piece of mushroom that I have. And there you go. So that looks actually all right, doesn't it? I'm quite surprised. So yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at. If I bring it up a little bit closer, and you can. Whoop, there you go. I'm trying to learn backwards. I'll obviously put up pictures of these anyway. Okay, so yeah, that's what they're looking like, really, which is looking quite nice. So we've got yum. Caroline, I'm sure you could grate sweet potato just into a frying pan and that'd be a meal. That's fine. Very nice, not bad. The family a good scrub, yes. I'm going to be making quite a lot of what's it called? Quite a lot of washing up is what I need to do. So yeah, delish, yum, cool. I'm glad people are liking it. So I'll just adjust this a bit better because this is a bit of a ropey angle. Okay. So for a better look of what they look like, here we are. When you take away my keyboard and mouse. So that's it. I would have this with a little bit of ketchup on the side, sort of thing. Pardon me, sort of thing. As you can tell, the smaller, so that one there, a bit like the runt of the family. The bigger ones, I think, hold their shape a bit more. So you can kind of see the differences. So it was meant to make 4. I'd rather go bigger and keep it more consistent. So maybe realistically, if you have that size, you might be looking at making 2 with this recipe. Okay, so that is the sweet potato hash browns done. So if we are going to go back, so that's done. That'll be at the side. I will be eating them, but also taking pictures afterwards. Now what we have is smoothie time. Okay, so we don't need any of these. As much as I think we'd love to have olive oil in the smoothies. So I have a variety of different fruit and veg here. Would people want the milkshake or smoothies? What would people want first? I might get myself. Did I put the chopping board away? Where did I put the chopping board? Here. Okay, so we are going to go for a carrot and orange smoothie to start off with. I have various different containers here. The NutriBullet that I use, these are the blades. So these are the blades that will just chop up your fruit and veg. Now with smoothies, I'm not a nutritionist, not a professional. I just like making smoothies. We're going to have various different sizes of stuff, and they all have lines on them to say how far you can fit it, how far you can't fit it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do a carrot and orange one with orange juice in there. So we're just going to bring this down a little bit. There you go. So, container, we've got our carrots, almost as if I was planning this. Okay, on here, so if we move here, this is going to block the angle a bit. I'm dropping all sorts today. So, right. Orange and carrot, okay? So, we're going to have the oranges, we're going to have the carrots. Now, what you want to do with the carrots is you don't need to peel them because then you lose the nutrition. You just want to chop off the ends. And what I do anyway is I break them up into smaller bits so they can go in. There you go. Wow to the hash brown. Thank you. Thank you, Emma, for saying that Florence says well done for the hash browns. So, carrot-wise, we've filled up the max with the carrots now. We might do a slightly bigger one. Maybe. We'll leave that one for the small ones. There you go. So, carrots, you might need another one, just depending on what size. and volume you want. Okay, I'm obviously going to be using fruit for these sorts of things, but you are more than welcome to use milks and that sort of thing. I have Duracell, which you'll see over there eventually, but the idea with that is you can switch and change. Much about smoothie and milkshake making is about just experimenting and working out what's good and what isn't good. So, I won't subject people to the weird way of me opening my oranges, which is normally with my mouth. So we'll just do this. Okay, so you want to peel the oranges. And once you've peeled them, put them in there. I'm just going to go get some orange juice after this. You can add ginger into this. This is quite like a typical kind of smoothie thing, is adding ginger. I'm not too keen on it, but you can do by all means if you wish. Okay. So, I've chopped off a bit on there at the top. Let me just see. There you go. Okay, so we are cool. So we now have 2 oranges and there are 3 carrots in there. Okay, just going to get rid of this. Okay, and now I'm just going to get the orange juice. So we'll get the orange juice. Okay, so we have the orange juice here. And I want to fill it up to, it says a max line. So we're just going to fill this up. You can by all means add ice cubes and stuff into this. I have done that before. That's quite key if you've got quite starchy, not starchy, but quite big, not juice-based objects. So this tastes good. So we're gonna blend this. It might be a bit loud. We will see. Then obviously the more that you blend, the more liquid it will become. So if I get a glass. And then this is now carrot and orange. It doesn't taste much of carrot, to be fair, which is quite good, especially if you're trying to pack in like fruit and veg in a sense that like maybe people won't realise, then that's really useful. As you can see, it's quite liquidy. It's not that thick as a shake. I'm just gonna get a straw. Yeah. So again, you can try this out. Some people might have more carrots in there because they want it to feel more carroty, and sometimes not. So that's smoothie number 1. So that's more of a veg-based one. Obviously, you have the oranges included in there, so that's fine. I'm just going to give the blade a little bit of a clean. Okay. Now, in the ultra contrast, we're going to do milkshakes. Okay. So we've had health, and obviously, if you drink this quickly, then it won't start to separate. But if you can see, it's starting to separate slightly because you've got two different weight of objects in there. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take another one, and we're going to do a milkshake. So for me, I have to weigh my milk because it comes as a powder. For some people that use like Pro Zero or Snow Pro, I think it's still called Snow Pro, you can add grapefruit, any juice. The juice is like interchangeable. Currently, given the climate, it's very hard to get jazzy juice, is what I call it. So orange and apple is what I only have in, but you can replace, chop and change, that sort of thing. If you added grapefruit juice in there, it can become quite sharp. So consider maybe having less citrus items included in the grapefruit juice. But if you look at, say, like breakfast drinks or breakfast juice, that is like grapefruit and orange. Those two kind of complement each other quite well. So my milk, which is this super soluble duocam, so this is where the PKU side comes in. To do for a normal 350 ml amount of milk, I have to weigh it to be 85 grams. Okay, and then I just add it with the liquid. So this is what's making the milk. So I'm just going to do this. By all means, yes, you can add in just any juices. If anything, that's part of the fun of this is trying it out and experimenting and finding your own concoctions that you want to try, in a sense. So, got that. Now I want to add in liquids to this. Okay. Then I just have to shake it up. This is what I have to do every time to have any milk on cereal. Okay, so now that's my milk. That's going to be added into this. But what we also want to add in, with milkshakes typically there's an element of thickness to this. So you want to add in a banana of some description to thicken it out. Otherwise it would be very, very liquidy. Because milk is obviously inherently a lot more liquidy. So put in your bananas. You can add in two bananas. That's quite a big thing. I'll put it into this one. There you go. Yeah, we'll do it into this one. So banana in there. You can add a second one. I'm going to make it quite liquidy. Because that's just the way I want. So if we add in the milk. Okay, so naturally the milk is actually under the line, but that's the milk and the bananas in there. Now, that is a milkshake. It's quite a boring milkshake, yes. So what we're going to do is we're going to add in chocolate. Okay, so what I have here is Freeform orange chocolate bar. So I've chosen that the chocolate has got an element of a taste in there. I'm choosing a physical bar. Obviously you could add in powdered if you wanted, that's by all means. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to physically break this up and drop it in. Obviously keep an eye on exchanges. So I'm actually going to do, for the volume, because I want it a bit chocolatey, I'm actually going to do 2 chocolate bars in there. This would mean that yes, it's a bit bitty. It's a little bit bitty. Because you have like flakes almost of chocolate in there, but that's just the way that it can be. What you can also do, if you want to make this into a thick shake, unfortunately I don't have that here with me today, is you can put ice cream in there. So I've put in like Swedish glass ice cream or anything like that into here, and the idea with that is that it will make it nice and thick, but also bring that cream element that some people might crave, in a sense. So we're going to put this in. You can also, if you wanted to do, I might actually, just to see what it's like. If you're feeling very spoiling, then you can add in something like that, just to add in, because otherwise it's a little bit plain, isn't it? The banana, the milkshake, like the milk, and a little bit of chocolate. But what you can do is you could add in a bit of treat or a bit of any like sauce. It's been in the fridge quite a while. Okay. Let's add that in. That should add in a little bit of raspberry into the flex. So that's what we have now. Okay, so if you can see, the treat's gone down to the bottom. You've got some chocolatey things in there, and you've got the bananas in there. So let's give this a go. And just make sure that the treat is coming off the top. Because otherwise it's going to stick to the bottom. Okay. Okay, so now you can actually see that's gone brown. Okay, the more that I was doing that, the more brown it went because the chocolate's mixing around. So if I did a bit more. Okay, so this is now, so what was it? Orange chocolate bar, milk, Sajua cow, banana, and a little bit of treat. Okay. Hello Sharon, that's okay. It'll be up on YouTube so you can watch this back. By all means. So if we now, it's got a little bit of froth on it, so let me get a glass. Okay, so if you can see there, it's got a little, like that's quite brown. It's got orange chocolate bar, PKU milk, banana to make it a little bit more thick. It's got a nice consistency to it, and a little bit of treat in there. So we'll give that a go. That's really nice. You actually feel like it's just a blend. It is just like a blended, chocolate bar in a sense with a bit of banana. That's really nice actually. That's the first time I've tried with treat. You can't really taste too much, but it just makes it a little bit more sweeter. So yeah, that's the milkshake out of the way, if you can see. So you can see it's got a little bit of flex of like chocolate and stuff in there. That's really nice. The thing to remind you, obviously, the longer you blend, the less there's little bits of chocolate in there. So if you're a person that really likes it smooth, or your child really likes it smooth, then just keep blending. It's not going to lose anything by blending it. Okay, really simple way of doing an apple juice with these things is literally just put 2 apples in. You might need to chop it down a little bit. Okay, chop it down just to fill it in. And then the really easy way then, this is making really, really like high nutrients apple juice, is just add in some apple juice into it. And what I always find really interesting with when you're making or you're creating an apple juice blend is that when you blend apples, it actually makes it frothy because of the stuff inside. Take stalks out. You could do. I don't. I just put it in there because again, lazy smoothie making. But you can take the stalks out. So let me just do this, and then we've got one final one here to do, which will be berries, a berry-based one. Okay, so we're going to do this. Okay, so this now is pure apple. So you've got apple juice and actual apples. As you can tell, we'll switch to the other camera actually, and then you'll be able to see. Okay, So as you can tell, when it zooms in, it's got little bits, okay? So this has got little red things, little red pieces of the skin, that sort of thing. So again, the great way of using with these smoothies rather than peeling and that sort of stuff is that you're not losing any of the nutrients. The thing to do with apple juice though is that it splits very quick. Okay, so this is really thick, as you can see, it's quite thick. So if you see, it's quite thick as a piece. Okay, but that's because of the froth again, like I was saying, of the apple juice. So yeah, the pips mix in, Sharon. It depends again on the type of blender that you have. So I've got a NutriBullet, but depending on what type of blender you have, you may have to take the pips out. This one destroys ice cubes, so nothing can stop being destroyed in this. So the pips mix in, and the only thing that you've got, as I showed with the other. So if I change to be the other angle, okay. So you can see, that might be a bit close. It's like 3D film. You can see there's just red bits. That's all. It's quite thick. So if you had a bigger piece, you might want to have more apple juice than more apples, because that's what thickens it up. But yeah, so that's quite thick as a piece. And if we go back, we are going to do. Ooh. I've got a nice little lineup going on. I'll move them slightly. Okay. So now what we're going to do is just going to wash that out. I've got a lot of liquid to drink after this. We're going to do a berry-based one, and when I say a berry-based one, I mean with strawberries, grapes, blueberries, yeah. So, and we're going to chuck in a little bit of orange in there just to kind of make it a little bit more juicy. Okay. So again, smoothie making is trial and error. So it really is whatever you want to do, just give it a go. If it's horrible, move on to the next one. But typically, it's not going to be too bad because it's really healthy. I'm looking for a new one. Yeah, NutriBullet. I think it's one of the most powerful ones. It just destroys anything in its wake. So we can do that. I do a fair bit of smoothies, so we can do this. But also, because I was originally coming up with the idea of a smoothie and milkshake kind of thing, because it was nice and sunny. You have a lot of drinks to drink, you're wasting straws. So my straws are bamboo, so they can be washed. So I'm not necessarily wasting them too much. They'll just end up being washed. And I will, but I need to take pictures for you guys rather than actually just drinking them all. So we've got a fair bit of grapes in here now. Okay. Then we'll do some strawberries. Again, you can just do whole strawberries like this. Just chop off the tops, put the strawberries in. Okay, then what you want is some blueberries, so I'll just do a handful of blueberries in there, minus a little bit of plastic that ended up going there. What I also want to add to this is I'm going to put in some ice cubes just to make it a bit more liquidy, because I might actually put in a banana into this one. You can put bananas in here. I'm going to put an orange in to make it a bit more liquidy, but I'm also going to add in an ice cube just to add in a bit of temperature, because at the moment these are all okay. A tip is that if you're using a lot of frozen fruit, because I've used this a lot with frozen fruit, is ice cubes, as well as a lot of juice. You need to have more juice if you're using frozen, because obviously it's a lot more thicker. So I'm just going to add in that. So yeah, otherwise you'll come out with like a thick smoothie, which I've done before, and it's quite hard to drink. So. Just open this. What juice do you think I should? So I'm going to have apple or orange. What do people want with this one while I'm preparing this? Should we do an apple to see what it comes out like compared to the colours of the other stuff? Again, because the way that I blend, I don't take out any of the middle bits. These are all there. They're all nutrients. They're all vital to have, rather than trying to get it down to be what we would eat it normally as. Okay, so I'm just going to get some ice cubes. Okay, so add in a bit of ice cubes, just to add in. So Anita says orange. Okay, so this just adds in an element of cool. I would like, I like sometimes my smoothies to be quite cool. If you're using non-frozen vodka, there you go. You can. So Sharon, you need to do your own cocktail hour. That's what you need to do. So we're going to have this, and then we're going to go for orange. What I was saying was, frozen fruits obviously bring a temperature to it, whereas if you're using fruit that's just fresh, then it's just kind of room temperature sort of time. As you can see, that the apple juice, like I said before, it splits quick, so that's slightly splitting, but then you just stir it for when you're drinking. So we're going to have orange. Again, on these things, there's max lines. Okay, I might just add in a few more blueberries, just because the blueberries add a bit of colour. Okay, and now what we're going to do is I'm going to move my smoothies. Can't wait to drink that. To drink the milkshake, it's really nice. So we have grapes, we have strawberries, we have blueberries, we have one orange in there, we have orange juice, and we have ice cubes. Okay, as I said before, this is a very powerful machine, so it will just destroy the ice cubes. So let's go. Okay, just okay. So as you can see, this has come out a completely different colour. That is because when you use berries, berries are very strong in their colours. So again, this is kind of smoothie slash juice. This is, as you can tell by how liquidy that is, and it's moving. Do I have an electric soup maker? No, but I think this can blend things into making pastes and soups, so I'll have to have a look. So that's your strawberries, blueberries, orange in there, and grapes. As you can tell, it's got little bits. You can see little bits of the skin in there. And I'll go to the other angle just to show you it from the top. Okay. Whoop. Okay, so you see, I'll get a straw actually. Wow. Using those straws again. So you see, like, it's very liquidy, this one is, because we added in the ice cubes. Okay, so if we go back, As you can tell, it's filling up my areas. So we'll move that to the side. I have a lot to drink. So that's our smoothie lineup. So we have. I'll just bring this down a little bit just to show you. Okay, so we have our strawberry, blueberry, and grape and orange and ice cubes. Okay, and then what we have is, when you mix it, you can see how thick this is getting, but you can stir it to bring it all together. Apple juice, so actual apples and apple juice, really simple juice. Again, if you want to make this actually more like a juice and less thick, like we've just said, add in some ice cubes and that will really help. Then we got the thing that I want to consume right now, which is Dual milk. Any milk is available with PKU stuff. 2 free from orange chocolate bars, so that's about an exchange in chocolate bars, and a banana and a little bit of treat in that one. And then you've got the original that we did, just kind of separate a little bit, but we'll mix it. When it separates, you get a little froth on the top, so you want to try and spin it. And then you've got orange and carrots in there, so that's orange juice, actual oranges and carrots. Now remember, actually, if you're doing this, and I haven't tried this because I don't have any lolly molds, because unfortunately I'm a 27-year-old man. Maybe that's something that I can get. But you can actually put these in molds and freeze them, and then you've got lollies for your kids, or just for an adult that likes to embrace that. So yeah, there are smoothies. So if I just do that as a little lineup, going on, yeah. And then if you were late to the party, these were the sweet potato hash browns. Okay, and that is what we've made in just over an hour. If I was having a party for 4 people, I'm sorted for all the drinks, as well as 3 people could have some hash browns. So yeah, that's kind of my demonstration and Tom's Kitchen for this week. So is there any further questions? I'm just going to lift up the Mac so I can see a little bit better. Is there any questions, or has everybody found that useful? So if I show you the side angle, you can see, obviously you can see my keyboard, but that's what we've made. That's everything that I'm going to be eating for the next couple of hours. So yeah, that's kind of it. I'll post up the menu in the description of the video when this goes live onto YouTube to watch back. Do I ever have an avocado smoothie? No, I should try an avocado smoothie, Hannah. I'm not the biggest fan of avocado. Maybe I could try and get into it. But yeah, so that's kind of, what would you have in an avocado smoothie? Either tell me now, or like Instagram DM me what you would have in an avocado smoothie. I have no idea. But yeah, so that's kind of it. That's sweet potato hash browns and various different smoothies and milkshakes. Obviously the smoothies and milkshakes are made easier because of this, but you can use anything that you want. If there's any other questions that people have, then you can, people should know where my social media is. It's at Tom Shimiak. But yeah, thank you for coming to my kitchen. We'll be back next week. I don't know what I'll be covering. If there's any requests that people have, let me know. Avocado works like a banana. Okay. Avocado works like a banana in a creamy way. Okay, I'll have to have a look because it's quite a different taste, isn't it, than banana? So, but yeah, cheers for coming, and cheers for your time on a Saturday afternoon. And yeah, have a good week, and I will see you next week. See you. Bye.